All right, so this video is about adopt-a-blocks. I want to explain adopt-a-block to you. I get asked that question all the time from what do I expect when I go, before I go to an adopt-a-block. So let me kind of explain it to you. We have adopt-a-blocks in different locations, and quite honestly, each location is unique and they all kind of feel a little bit different, but there are a lot of similarities. The first and most important thing is we're all about building relationships. So no matter which adopt-a-block you go to, we always want to make sure you're praying before you go. We want to make sure that you're smiling when you get there and you're very friendly. We're always quick to share our names, who we are, and that really bridges the gap so that it's all about building those relationships that we believe are going to be transformational. And we want to introduce people to Christ, and we want to show them the best way we can. And oftentimes we use whatever we can to build a conversation. Some places that might be a water bottle. If we're dealing with, if there's whoever's in the community, maybe it's giving away food or groceries or playing games with kids. And so in any circumstance, we want to always build that conversation with people. But there's one at certain adopt-a-blocks, we do give away groceries. And so I want to explain how this process works, because when you show up, you'll see all kinds of food coming out of the trucks, and they're going to be in multiple boxes. And so if you're there, it's kind of overwhelming if you're not sure what to do. But I guarantee it's very easy. We always have bags available, and we encourage you to come on up. And you can take the bags out and whatever, like for instance, we'll always have produce, some type of produce available. It always changes, but whatever it is, we kind of do the math ahead of time. So when you show up, we would be able to tell you, hey, put 2 of these in one bag, put 1 of those and 4 of these, whatever the items are. And you would just simply collect those, put them in your bag, and you would, if it's a plastic bag, we double tie the bag and we set it aside. And then we go through like that and we bag all of the produce. Similar items like maybe it's pastas or rice or items like that, we would simply bag those up. And again, we would tell you, we would say, hey, bag 2 of these, 1 of those, and 3 of these. And you would take those items and bag them. And so we would prepare all of the food like that. And then everything would be ready in stations. And so when the community comes, they can come out and they would, and they can go through our line, and we would get 1 bag of each section per person if they want the item. Sometimes they don't want certain items, and that's okay too. But that's kind of how our food distribution works at an adopt-a-block, and technically that's part of our food truck outreach ministry. And so our food truck outreach doesn't happen at every adopt-a-block, but the ones that do have those, that's how the food truck works. We also have Kids Jam. Now, Kids Jam doesn't happen at every location either, but the ones that have Kids Jam is very similar to. The idea is that we would bring out toys or different games and different ways of interacting with kids. And so we would encourage you, smile, play with those kids, get to know them, and just hang out. It's all about having fun, hanging out. And sometimes we might have a football or something that we can throw with kids, or all of these fun items, or maybe there's a special project on a certain day. But then usually at a certain time, there's a tarp that's set out. The kids will sit down on the tarp and we'll share some sort of Bible story. We often use candy to help keep the kids engaged. We would say, hey, if you're sitting quietly, we're going to give you a piece of candy. And it's amazing what one little piece of candy will do to get kids to listen to you. And we would share some type of gospel presentation. And we always want to make a value on that for our Kids Jam, because we care about those kids and we want to preach the gospel every chance we get. And so that's a little bit of the Kids Jam thing. The other thing that would happen at certain adopt-a-block locations is our prayer team and our door knocking team. And so prayer team is simply the being willing to pray. Whether you're part of Kids Jam, the food truck outreach, or door knocking, prayer is a huge part of it. So don't ever be afraid to say, hey, thanks for coming today. How can I pray for you? Or is there anything I can pray for you over? And you'll be amazed at how many people open up. Some people say no, and that's perfectly fine. But we want to just be available for that. And then don't be afraid to pray. Get into God's presence with somebody and pray over those specific items if they have them. And then the door knocking team is a lot of people are intimidated by this, but I guarantee you the first time you do it, you'll get over the intimidation factor. And you just simply knock on the doors, and we just invite people. We say something similar to this. We would say, hey, I'm Jeremy from Dream Center, and we're out there doing our adopt-a-block today. We want to invite you to come. We have games for the kids, or we have free groceries, and we want to just be a blessing to you in this neighborhood. Please join us if you're able to. And then, and also that's a great opportunity to ask people, even in that moment at the door, if they want prayer. And so, so we've seen some great fruit from that. So that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect at an adopt-a-block. Usually we meet at 10 a.m. The food preparation will take 30 to 45 minutes roughly. And then after that, we usually end and start wrapping things up around 12:15, and then the trucks are loaded and off we go, and that's our Adopt-A-Block program. Again, I can click on the outreach button on our website, and that'll show you the Adopt-A-Blocks, and that's where all the locations are, so you can see all of the addresses of where we meet. All right, thanks for watching this video.